Let's begin.
Here we go! Hi, everybody!
Let's start the insanity.
You are not worried, are you?
Me? No.
Well, we're waiting.
Hello and welcome to Super Media All-Stars. We are a weekly podcast, and tonight we are talking about movies. I'm your host, John Harris, and I'm joined by two other All-Stars. First one being Jake Boston.
I'm on the deep end, watches are diving.
And Brent Harris.
Don't make me turn you into an armless, legless dirt floating in the wind.
I was gonna try my Venom voice, but I suck at it.
We got a great episode for you in store. We are going over Venom. We saw this opening weekend, and we have some thoughts. Is it going to be a great Venom movie, or is it cinema poison? That's the title of this podcast. Ooh, spicy. Before we dive into things, it's been about almost over 2 weeks since we talked movies. We are officially in October. It is the Halloween season, so
Spooky dookies.
it is. What have you guys been watching?
I try to watch one horror series that I've never seen every Halloween.
And how's that going this month?
I'm watching the Halloween series for the first time. Like, I've seen Halloween H2O, and I've seen the Rob Zombie one, and I've seen like parts of the first one, but that's it.
And did you work your way through all of them?
I have watched 1 through 5 so far, because my goal is to watch 1 through 8 before the new one comes out, and then I'll watch the Rob Zombie ones afterwards for the remainder of
How many did Rob Zombie have?
just 2.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah. For the new Halloween movie, I only have to see the first one because it's a straight continuation from that.
Gotcha.
And that's a good thing because a lot of these fucking Halloween movies are turds.
I bet.
Holy shit. 1, I gave a 4.5 out of 5. So fucking good.
Nice.
Classic. 2, I gave a 3.5 out of 5 because it picks up like immediately after the first one ends. And the way the first one ends is amazing. They don't need to have a sequel, but they made it work because the majority of it is in a hospital. It's just Michael Myers killing people in a hospital.
Huh.
So that's fun. Third one's horrible. After the first 2, John Carpenter wanted to make the series into an anthology series. So in the second one, they kill Michael Myers. The third one is a completely different story to where like the original Halloween is like on televisions at a bar. So
Oh, really?
It's like set in its own little world and the story sucks. And then I saw 2 movies in theaters.
What's that?
I went on vacation with Kevin and his family, and my family went, and we have 2 little girls, so we went to see Smallfoot.
How was that?
Completely average.
Yeah.
There's nothing, you don't need to see it ever, and you'll be fine, and if you're stuck watching it, it's okay.
If I remember right, it has a pretty good cast for voice acting, right? A pretty...
Channing Tatum and Common and Danny DeVito.
And the girl
Oh.
from Homecoming.
Zendaya.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
But nothing spectacular, huh?
LeBron James.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
it's
weird.
Yeah, it's completely missable. You're fine. And then the one I just saw today, what I sang when I started,
Yeah.
A Star Is Born.
Yeah. I heard it. This is getting some good reviews.
Yeah, it's good. I gave it a 4 out of 5 because everything they do is strong, but the story is very predictable, and that's okay in this circumstance. Because the 2 main actors, Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper, they fucking bring it.
Do
like
they?
they're amazing in this.
That's funny because I know Lady Gaga's been trying to act, but nothing's really stuck with me as far as like her acting. But
Yeah.
apparently this is good.
The only thing that I've seen her in was American Horror Story Motel or whatever the fuck it was,
Yeah,
and
Hotel.
she was okay in that. She was fine. But this, she's pretty much playing Lady Gaga. Like
Which is
she's
what
this
she does best. So.
she's this girl who gets found by a person, and then it's just like a musical. Great, she's just like fucking climbing up the social ladder.
So would you want to see Lady Gaga in anything else but this?
Yes, because the majority of it is her singing and her through like her musical career. But when it's just like the personal touches that they have with her and Bradley Cooper, she's awesome in it.
Interesting.
The only bad part of her is like when she tries to be emotional and cries. Like she can cry like a champ when it's just like one tear rolling down her eye. She's very powerful at that. But when she's like being super ball face, it's not good. But that's the only bad part of her performance. The rest of it is fantastic. And Bradley Cooper directing this too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
First time director. Really damn good.
Brent, what about on your end?
Castle Rock. series.
Oh
on
yeah, you
Hulu.
did mention this.
10-episode series.
I've been wanting to check this out.
It is fantastic.
That's good to hear.
They'll really, there's a couple people that you'll probably notice from other stuff, but they're very minor in their careers. But the main thing is Bill Skarsgård, who did it.
Yeah, he was Pennywise.
Oh my God, him not wearing any makeup and doing what he does best is still fucking weird, and it's amazing. It's just it's in Stephen King's little multiverse, so it's based in a town in Maine. Where the only real job producer is Shawshank, the prison from the movie.
Yeah.
And they end up finding Bill Skarsgård's character in the prison after the warden kills himself. And he's just down in this dungeon in this cage by himself. And then it ensues from there. But it's like it's like all over the place. Definitely like a thriller. It's not really a slow burn, but there's never like a real fast-paced thing to it.
Is it scary at all? Or is it just like is it just drama?
No, it's definitely just a drama thriller.
I know it's produced by J.J. Abrams. Does it have that kind of like Lost-y feel?
Not
Does
really.
it have cliffhanger endings?
Not really. Enough, I guess. It's not really a cliffhanger, but you're definitely left at the end of each episode like, all right, well, I'm not stopping now.
Sure.
Gotcha.
Highly recommend it.
If you had to rate the season 1 5 stars,
Probably 4 or 4.5.
not good.
It's
Huh?
fantastic.
Does it set you up for a season 2?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Nice.
There's some places they could go.
I know they're just pulling a bunch of Stephen King references into that series. So I wasn't sure how far it would go.
Yeah, the only thing I'm scared of is it'll probably be downhill from here because I don't know. Unless it's very possible they could produce something that's of equivalent magnitude, but I don't know. We'll see.
I'm still on my Star Trek series with Danielle, and we tackled Star Trek 4, The Voyage Home, which is like the end of this trilogy that's in the midst of these Star Trek movies, and yeah, it's clearly a downward slope from here.
Is that 4 or 5?
That's 4,
Okay.
and 4 is like the last one Leonard Nimoy directed,
No.
and it's very gimmicky. Like there's chase scenes that have chase music, like stuff like that. It's really bad. The premise is around whales being extinct.
Yeah, I thought 4 was supposed to be good.
I didn't like it. No, everybody likes it,
Yeah.
but I don't know why.
Gotcha. Okay.
The premise being
A
like,
Star Trek movie is the story plot is whales are extinct.
and there's a probe that comes to Earth and it's destroying Earth's atmosphere because it's radiating a whale sound and it's waiting for a whale to respond.
So this is the one where they go to Earth and they have to like try to act normal on Earth.
Yeah,
Right?
Because they go
Okay.
back in time to the 20th century, since the 80s.
Yeah, probably the year the movie came out. Just
Yeah.
to barf.
It's really bad.
Brent, this happened.
Oh my God. People love this shit?
And it has the mom from Seventh Heaven in it as the
Ugh.
the new actress in this.
Anything from Seventh Heaven.
Yeah, it's so bad. The last thing we checked out, I didn't know that. I forgot this movie existed, but it came out in 2015. The Intern with Robert De Niro and Anne Hathaway.
That looks horrible.
How did this come
Oh,
about?
wait. Isn't that a Nancy Myers movie? Like the
Yeah.
same person who did The Devil Wears Prada?
I'm not sure she did that, but I know she did like Something's Gotta Give.
That's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
Those fucking horrible movies.
Yeah.
Come on.
Just randomly, she just said like, "Hey," she's like, "Have you heard of the movie The Intern?" And I was thinking like Vince Vaughn and
The Internship?
yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, no, I didn't really want to see that. She's like, no, The Intern. It totally escaped me. Like, I had no idea what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And then we pulled it up on Amazon, and I saw Robert De Niro and Anne Hathaway. I was like, oh no. I tried putting it nicely, but it's just run of the mill. It's definitely a feel good movie. A lot of old people's old ways teach you about young people.
Oh, great.
Yeah, a lot of those things. If I had to rate that one, probably 2.5 out of 5. It's watchable.
I forgot. Are you done?
Yeah.
I forgot something I did watch was True Detective Season 2.
I've heard that's horrible.
It's not horrible. It's definitely nowhere as good as Season 1.
Yeah, season 1 is fantastic.
Yeah. It's Season 2 is with
Colin Farrell and Taylor Kitsch
and Vince Vaughn.
and Vince Vaughn.
Yeah. It's definitely watchable. If you've got other things on your list, then I would definitely watch that first. But if you like True Detective Season 1, It's definitely not as good, but it's not terrible TV. It's just the ending is just meh.
Then I'll never watch it. If it has a meh ending, there's no reason.
Like it's good quality television show, but the way they wrap it all up is just so, I don't know, it just leaves a bad taste in your mouth.
Yeah.
It's like, why the hell did I watch this whole season?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
Let me also forget that we're like on episode 8 of The Maniac. No,
I want to just Maniac.
Maniac.
I want to see
on
that.
Netflix.
Emma Stone and Jonah Hill.
Yes.
It looks trippy as shit.
It starts off with a very slow burn, but then it gets to some really cool mind stuff.
Okay.
And there's like a subplot, a lot of subplots going on. I'm not sure how it's all going to add up, but the premise is they pretty much go into this machine and they experience a different form of memories, and it leads to all these crazy scenarios that take place in the mind, and it's really good.
It looks like nothing on like cable ever. Like it's just trippy as shit.
So like there's
It's
every
surreal.
episode is like a different, like a whole they play the same.
No, there's overall plot, and there's reasons that they're having these fantasies, but whatever. But I don't know. It's hard. It's serious. It's got some dark themes, but it's also got some really weird 80s humor in it. Cause like it's like imagine like this crappy Tim and Eric skits where they have like the floating graphics, like it just made it look bad.
Yeah.
There's some of that in this show. And there's some just weird. I don't know how to describe it. It's just so weird. It's a weird balance that if you have time to check it out, I think it's like the first 5 episodes are 45 minutes, and it jumps into like the 20-minute Netflix formula.
Oh, nice. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So I'm really excited to see where it goes. I just haven't got back to it. It is one of those shows that you're kind of hanging on to the next episode to see what happens. Mm-hmm. But we had to get to a starting point because I think we watched like 6 in a row.
How many episodes are in the season?
I think there's 8 or 10.
And there's only one season so far?
Yeah.
I think they're done with one. It's like a limited run series. So
yeah. Check it out if you guys have time. All right, guys, let's jump into the next portion of our show, and that is we saw Venom opening weekend, and we saw this Thursday night premiere night. We've had a few days to dwell over this movie. I want to ask you guys, well, first of all, this first part will be spoiler-free. We'll jump into a spoiler section after that, and we'll end up with our review. But first thoughts, leaving the movie. There was a lot of discussion about this movie prior to us walking in. A lot of reviews that came out, and not really spoilers, just some thoughts had kind of took over the internet. But what did you guys think after leaving?
walking in, everybody was dogging on this movie. Like all of the critics hated it.
Yeah.
So
Even we were too, because we were watching the trailers.
yeah, and the trailers didn't really
Do anything for us.
at all.
Well, that and they had just talked. There's like a comment that Tom Hardy said. Like,
Oh, yeah.
Like what?
His favorite part of the movie was cut out. Like
This was the
there's
day before we walked in.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
40 minutes of this that aren't in the movie.
Yes, the best 40 minutes of Venom were cut,
Yeah.
in his opinion.
And before the movie, I even heard that the director, Ruben Fleischer, said that there's a director's cut coming. So just walking in, I'm like, fuck, it's going to be... There's a movie that just did this in a similar way to where, like, was it Deadpool 2? There's another one, I can't fucking remember, where walking in, you know that there's going to be a different version coming out in 3 months. So it's just like, why the fuck am I watching this now?
Right. It's pretty much it sounded like they never confirmed it, but it sounded like a studio interference again.
Yeah, there's been a lot of those lately.
Which we'll get into it later. But come on, Sony,
Yeah.
you don't have room to be picky now.
But walking out of the movie, my first thoughts were, it's not that bad. It's very fine. There are some parts that are amazing. The majority of the movie doesn't make a whole hell of a lot of sense on how it gets to like point A to point B.
Right.
But there's one central relationship that carries this movie so far for me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think we're all in agreement there.
Mm-hmm.
There was some continuity issues that really didn't really want you hung up on, but they bothered me. And there were some choices made during the movie that I'm not really sure why they went the direction they did.
I'm just going to say right now, the first 30 minutes of this movie are utter garbage.
See, I thought they were slow too, but I have other people saying that that was the best part of the storytelling.
No way. No, that's just wrong. It doesn't get interesting until Venom is actually like on Tom Hardy.
See, I would argue that too. I've heard we'll get into it a little bit later, but I've heard the opposite. Brent, what'd you think?
I mean, the first 30 minutes didn't bother me that much. It's the opposite. It's the last 30 minutes that bothered me the most.
What?
Pretty much the third act.
Yeah, I mean, there's the whole overarching story that they don't do well enough, in my opinion, which would be an easy fix.
So I think we're all in agreement that I'm going with Jake. I think, Brent, you're alluding to it. It's not as bad as the critics made it out to be. Jake, you alluded to it, but the best part about this movie is the relationship of Eddie and Venom and how these two intertwine. Do you guys get enough of it, or do you want more out of it, or was it like, this is a nice introduction?
I didn't know walking in the type of relationship they were going to have, because in the trailers they show this menacing Venom all the time. So I'm like, okay, this is going to be like some 90s horror movie garbage.
And what we got was great, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's more like, should we spoil their relationship right now or no?
No, it's why I'm just asking if did it work.
I liked it quite a bit, because
Yeah.
I was surprised at where they went. Like, oh, okay, wasn't expecting this. Oh, I really like this.
Mm-hmm. And critics were being actually pretty heavy or pretty critical of some of the things about their duo that I thought was perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Made the film that much better.
Yeah, there's some other story plots that that kind of elude that there are some Spider-Man references, but never Spider-Man himself. Like some stuff from they mentioned the astronaut's name, Jameson.
Yeah.
They mentioned that, which was kind of cool, but there were some story elements left out that I really wanted to fill in the gaps with, which we didn't get so far.
So question.
Yeah.
Since they did the whole J. Jonah Jameson's kid is still the astronaut in this universe,
Right.
does this make this a connection to the MCU or no?
I think they played it safe by letting it be an option.
But I want like a strict answer.
I don't think we're going to get it.
Because we're going to talk about this more, but there's a certain cameo in this movie that is in every other MCU movie.
Right.
Leaving the theater, I kept on thinking, I think Peter Parker could, I want to see Peter Parker and, what the fuck's his name? Eddie
Tom
Brock.
Hardy? Yeah.
Eddie Brock.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want both of them to meet and interact. I think that could be very entertaining.
Oh, I think it'd be an excellent movie.
Yeah. What I'm really hoping is that Eddie Brock is in the last 10 to 15 minutes of the new Spider-Man, just so they get introduced that way. And then it can be like a Venom Spider-Man, either team up or fight. I would like to see them team up more than fight.
Yeah, see, I guess my problem with that, the only problem I have with that is that the rating that they took with Venom, I don't think is the right way to go. And so if you corrected that and then put him with Spider-Man, I think it'd be very offsetting.
Let's talk about the rating a little bit, because the main reason why they went PG-13 is so they could leave the option open to put Venom into the MCU. If it was R-rated, they wouldn't let it happen. The main reason why Fox has done Logan and Deadpool rated R is because they have nothing to lose.
Yeah.
Because they have their own little world where they can literally do anything they want.
Especially with the X-Men universe being in that umbrella.
Kevin Feige's been on record saying there's not going to be any R-rated Marvel films.
I think that's a shot in the foot.
Yeah.
Kind of ruins his character from the get-go.
I do think that if this movie was R-rated, I don't know if it would make the quality of the movie any better. It would just make the kills a lot stronger for me. I think that's the only thing that I could see. If there were some cursing thrown in, and if there was some blood, that could add something to it.
This movie definitely alludes to violence.
Yeah,
and,
but I think
some
you
gore.
I think you could also go down the darker route, which is what Venom feeds on, essentially.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I thought for a PG-13, this got dark enough for me.
Oh, say this just made me want it darker.
I would like that too, but I'm okay with what I got tone-wise. I was surprised with how much they were able to get away with. I can talk more about it in spoilers.
Yeah.
Some other things I want to jump into is we saw a lot of the action from the trailers, but seeing it in the theater, how did the CGI look for you guys?
CGI looked fine.
Yeah.
So I heard some bad reviews that the third act looked terrible, and I didn't think it did.
I didn't think it did either.
I thought a lot of the stuff we saw in the trailer and stuff that was a surprise.
With what happens in the third act,
Yeah.
I'm just like, what were you expecting to happen with what's happening?
Well, I was shocked that it looked as good as it did, if I'm being honest, because the action that they did in the third act could have gotten messy really quick, and I could actually tell what was going on, which surprised me.
Because, I mean, it's not a huge spoiler, but symbiote's a very liquid-based creature, and some of the stuff they try to pull off with CGI actually ends up not getting mushed or blurred. It actually looked pretty fluid and solid in the third act fights and throughout the whole movie. Venom's kind of symbiotic aqua look to him looked really awesome in this.
Like the worst CGI was parts in the trailer where it's like half Tom Hardy, half Venom face. Like that's the worst CGI by far to me.
Yeah.
That's seconds.
Yeah, exactly.
The last thing I want to do is just do a cast rundown here before we get into the spoilers. As that all the critics are saying, and I think we're all in agreement here, that this movie is very much carried by Tom Hardy.
Yeah, if he wasn't in this, this movie would be horrible.
Yeah.
I would agree with all the critics.
Yeah.
That was cast by pretty much anybody else. This movie wouldn't tanked.
Spoilers, because of the Tom Hardy Venom relationship, my rating is going up a whole star because it worked that well for me.
I think everyone's should.
I think it did too, and I think like what they did with Eddie Brock, pulling what they could from the comics and reinterpreting him for this movie. Like, yeah, it's a stretch because I know Eddie Brock and Venom from the comics and video games, but what they had to do for this movie worked for me.
Yeah, and we'll talk about this later, but Eddie Brock just being Eddie Brock without the symbiote is horrible. I hate his fucking character when he's just like an on the beat reporter.
Yeah,
so shitty.
Yeah.
So bad.
We had Michelle Williams as Anna Wang, like his pretty much what ends up being the girlfriend in the trailer.
Love interest.
Yeah, the love interest. She doesn't do much for me, and she has a particular scene that I was just confused if it was necessary, but for me, she just kind of filled the role.
She's there.
I feel like she was her part was in script number 2 out of a script that's been revised 10 times. Like she might have had a good part, and then it just got like broken down to crap to where like the final product, she's not really needed at all.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like after the beginning, I don't know. I feel like she doesn't need to be in this.
I like Michelle Williams, but I hate her in this movie.
Well, I thought they had a good start with her her being her very own independent, strong. She's a lawyer, all this good stuff, and then it kind of falls into a trope later in the movie, which I was kind of just like, eh. We had Riz Ahmed as Carlton Drake. He was kind of we know him in the trailer as this really wealthy businessman / antagonist of this film.
Yeah, he's like an Elon Musk type.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll get into him a little bit more later. I knew this from the trailer, but I didn't know how she had a big part she did, was Jenny Slate. She's from SNL, correct?
Yeah, one season.
Uh-huh. I liked her in this.
I like Jenny Slate. Her stand-up is funny. I think last time we did a movie podcast, I reviewed her movie Obvious Child, and it was pretty solid.
Yeah, it was kind of sad what they do with her in this movie. But
you mean how she does nothing?
Yeah.
She does even less than Michelle Williams, and that's saying something.
Right, and I thought she was honestly a better part than Michelle Williams was.
They're both pretty bad.
You think so?
Yeah, and I like her as a character, and I like her as a person, but her doing plot things in this movie made me upset.
Really?
Yeah.
And that's that's pretty much it for the cast. There's one more person that's a huge spoiler. We'll send that for the very end.
Definitely, because I knew that this person was in the movie, so I was just waiting for him to be in the movie.
Or her.
No, I'm just gonna say him. It's a guy who, after Tom Hardy, I was most excited to see this guy in the movie.
Yeah,
and you have to wait a while.
Yeah,
I'll just stop.
It's bad.
Yeah.
All right. With that being said, let's jump into the spoiler section of our show. Venom.
Time to go get him.
They ain't gonna know what hit them when they get bit with the venom. Dong, you bastard! It's bit.
When they get bit with the venom.
We're keeping this.
Okay. Yikes. That was our transition spoiler warning there. That was Eminem. Is the song just called Venom? Yep, there was that.
That's your ending credit song.
So now that we're in the spoiler section, you can jump to your timestamp, look ahead, and jump ahead if you need to the review section. But we've been talking about the entire episode, but the first half of this movie, here's one of my things.
Yeah, let's talk chronologically.
Okay.
And let's go through spoilers.
So we learned that the symbiotes or they pretty much hijack this plane, or they're taking samples back with them.
It's a spaceship, John?
Yeah, spaceship.
It's not a plane.
Yeah. For
Life.
Yep, they're bringing these samples back.
Yeah.
That's Spider-Man lore.
You know what movie this reminded me of?
What's that?
Life. With Ryan Reynolds and Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah.
Like, it could have been a symbiote on that fucking movie, but let's go on.
Yeah. Things get a little interesting when we learn that Riot is the one who's kind of transferring body to body throughout this movie, and he ends up taking possession of an Asian woman, then a little girl, and finally makes his way to.
What about a homeless woman? Oh wait, no, this is across the country.
Yeah, this is Riot.
Right.
Yeah. Come to the end, we get Riot, who's trying to bring the symbiotes to Earth to take over pretty much the planet.
There's a scavenging party.
Yeah, we learn that he's like the leader of the symbiotes, and that Venom's pretty much nothing, or he's a loser among the symbiotes.
Yeah, that part was kind of weird.
Isn't that weird?
I liked it when it first happened, but the more I think about it, the more corny I think it is.
So
It kind of devalues
Yeah.
how cool Venom is.
yeah, it's that's one of the things that bothered me was the fact that they added that he's the loser as well to like for some reason make them bond better.
Mm-hmm.
And then Venom also says like he's so much better than Venom because he can conjure like these giant blades.
Yeah,
Like, that's what makes him better.
and he's
Blades, Brent.
Blades.
Yeah,
also he's supposed to be a better fighter.
blades equals better.
Uh-huh.
So
All that Venom can do is like get a shield. Like, oh, don't hurt me.
I will say that I liked Riot. I just don't think we got enough of him. We got more of the Carlton Drake in this movie than anything. But what really bothered me about this plot point was, so we have the first half of this movie that's really building up the symbiote connection, right?
Yes.
And then the second half of this movie, symbiotes are attaching to people like crazy, attached Riot to Carlton Drake. Then we had Venom attached to Michelle Williams. Just
Yeah.
like
Yep.
that.
I feel like that's the only reason why Michelle Williams is in here, so they could have a lady Venom for 30 seconds.
A she-Venom.
Yeah.
Like, come on. That whole storytelling was lost immediately when they started jumping person to person.
And how Michelle Williams and Tom Hardy kissed and the Venom symbiote like transferred bodies.
Yeah.
That was weird.
Yeah, She-Venom was a surprise because I know there's a comic about She-Venom. I don't know if it's about Michelle Williams.
Gwen Stacy as Gwenom.
Oh, there is that too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Gwenom.
That part really surprised me. I'm not sure if it was actually necessary.
No,
I think it was there for an Easter egg, but
that's not a very good
I was hoping
Easter
the
egg.
dog would actually take
Yeah, that's what I was hoping
the
too.
Venom dog would take it back to Tom Hardy.
Yeah.
I was hoping the dog would run up to the forest and touch him.
One thing I'd want out of a sequel is more transformations from different people. Like,
Yeah.
that'd be pretty cool.
Well, that or don't allude to a storyline where it's so hard for symbiotes and humans to connect when you completely blow up that storyline
true.
by the second half.
That's very true.
That was one of the things that annoyed me.
Or more than just 3 fight scenes with Venom in it.
But those fight scenes were awesome.
Were they?
The first fight scene, I really liked
Yeah,
when
the
it was
first
him on
fight-
the motorcycle.
Agreed. That is amazing.
And then, well, not even, that's not the first one. The first one is like him in his apartment. I thought that was pretty sweet too.
Okay.
And then he jumps down to the motorcycle
I
race.
guess the
Just
only
chase.
fight scene I didn't like was when he's in the like mall with all the like police officers that show up from
Yeah.
the company.
Which it makes sense because Tom Hardy or Eddie Brock is trying to fight Venom into being good at that point. So he wouldn't want to kill all the cops because the cops are just doing their job. They're not being horrible.
Well, they're not
people.
cops though. They're like the
Security guard, whatever.
security police for the
Yeah,
company.
they're just doing their job still.
True.
So, that's the weakest fight scene just because he's the majority of the time he's running away and he's just like blowing people back.
That's the best fight scene where you can tell that this is clearly PG-13.
Yeah, kind of. I just had in the back of my mind like, oh, they're good people and he's trying to teach them not to kill and bite everybody's head off.
Yeah.
There's one plot line that I'm still just kind of undecided about, but we learn in the beginning of the movie that are about halfway through the symbiotes are pretty much killing their host. If they bond with them for too long, they're pretty much use up their body.
They have to feed off something.
Yeah.
Right, to survive.
It is a cool concept.
Yeah,
They just do nothing with it once they meet their perfect matches, I guess.
No, they still do something with it. That's why they have to continue feast on other things.
Kinda. And they don't do anything with like if it jumps from host to host, like it just kills them on the spot. Like it should have killed Michelle Williams, right?
Yeah, and it should have killed that little girl, but we didn't see the little girl die.
Well,
when
we can assume so.
when Riot transferred
Well,
to Carlton Drake.
With Riot transfers from 3 different people until he gets to Drake. So
Yeah.
technically every one of those people should have died
They did.
I think they did.
They all did.
once they transferred, right?
Yeah.
They just don't show the
But-
kid because obviously it's
I would
kid
assume
dying.
the kid died if
Yeah.
everybody else died.
100%.
Right. But what I don't get is, so we learned that when Anne's new boyfriend separates Venom from Tom Hardy in like the machine scan room, the CAT scan room.
MRI.
Yeah. We learned that Tom Hardy's vitals are all effed up because Venom is feeding off him.
Yeah.
And then the very next scene, like not too much longer, we hear that Venom decides to stay with Tom Hardy and he's going to take it less severe on his body because he likes Eddie Brock and he wants to stay on Earth, and his motivations change like on the snap.
Well, because he realizes that he is able to control him more because he kind of needs him. They both need each other because Venom can kind of have a say, and Tom Hardy is gonna die. It seems like without him.
Right. I want that fleshed out more because I feel like the Venom transition from his original goal into his new goal was very quick, and his new motivations really were just to stop Riot.
Yeah, because it was like in the hospital when it was in the MRI room, it went through a vent, and then it transferred its being into a dog.
Yep.
And then the dog went to Michelle Williams.
And then we got back to Venom in the forest.
Yeah, with the kiss.
And then when they got back together, that's when Venom says, "Hey, I decided that Earth is cool. I could be top dog here. I won't feed off you, but I need to sustain somehow." So,
yeah, but you seem to be sustaining just fine with the dog and Michelle Williams, so that really doesn't make any sense.
yeah, that whole plot line just got muddled, and I was just like, okay, so you're gonna tell Riot and Carlton Drake that Riot is feeding off you. He will take over your body eventually, and you will die.
Well, you also got to remember that when Riot first takes over, the person looks exactly like they did before he took over.
Mm-hmm.
But right before he transfers, their body looks bad. Like their face is sunken in.
Yeah.
Like you can clearly tell that their body is deteriorating. So he's been in them for a substantial amount of time. Well, same thing kind of with Tom Hardy, but that's the only thing. With like him jumping between the dog and Michelle Williams' character, not that big of a deal because he's not in them very long, so he's not doing a whole lot of damage.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, but in the lab, the longest Venom is in somebody is like 3 days. Like the first time he goes into somebody, the dude dies within a minute. If you remember that,
Yeah.
like the guy who
In the
volunteered, the
in
first
the
guy,
laboratory?
yeah, like he doesn't know what's going on, and then he taps on the screen when this thing gets released.
Yeah, but you could also argue that he's been in a tube for so long, and then he needs to feed on something, so he just
I mean, yeah,
destroys the crap out of that thing to get his power back.
The point being, they just built the symbiote's logic so much during this movie just to have it be lost so quickly in the third act.
that's definitely true.
Speaking of the third act, I'm just going to go ahead and jump to the fight scene between Venom and Riot, and pretty much the rocket ship.
Sure.
Did you guys like that?
Yeah, absolutely.
I liked the fight better than the rocket ship.
Yeah.
The fight where it's both Riz Ahmed and Tom Hardy versus Riot and Venom, and then the like you can see all four beings because like the Venom or the symbiotes are just like liquiding around each other.
Yeah, but they're
Right.
still holding on to their.
That looks cool as fuck.
Yeah.
Or like when both of them combine, all four of them combine into one, and then
Yeah.
they split apart. That
Yeah.
looks cool as shit too.
Or when there's the Venom and what's his name?
Riot,
When Venom and Riot are fighting, and then Tom Hardy and
Riz Ahmed, yeah.
Riz Ahmed they're fighting in human form as well. So they're all four of them are just fighting each other. That's pretty cool.
That's where the CGI, I was afraid was going to go to shit.
I do remember the Tom Hardy and Riz Ahmed fight. Tom Hardy just like does one pathetic
Yeah.
kick off the ramp to punch him off.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, that looks fucking dumb.
That's pretty. Well, he's
That was a
obviously not
Superman punch right there.
Yeah. I was actually nervous for this part because I thought this is where the CGI is going to tank, but no, like we alluded to in the spoiler-free section, this actually holds up and it actually looks pretty good. I mean, most of the fight action.
Yeah, the fight was good. The rocket ship kind of looked a little weak, but it was going so fast that I just kind of let it go.
Yeah, I did like pretty much wherever they had to stretch their arms or alluded to the liquid transformations of the symbiotes. I thought that CGI really held up.
Yep.
Even like the Riot armor that he kind of builds, the blades, the spikes, all that looked like very cool / like cartoonish.
Yeah, when Venom's trying to like give him a chokehold from behind, he just shoots out a whole bunch of like porcupine spikes.
Yeah.
And that hurts the fuck out of him. That was cool.
Yeah. Did the ending we got with Riot and Carlton Drake, them kind of blowing up in the rocket, because we kind of learned that high-pitched sounds and fire it pretty much kills symbiotes.
Yeah.
Did you guys like that ending?
Yeah, I don't see why not.
Yeah, I mean, fire bad, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, did you actually...
Ooh, you know what I didn't like?
What?
When fucking Michelle Williams was the one that kind of saved the day at the end, with her like turning the knob.
Oh, yeah.
I hated that
Blurring
shit.
the sound.
Yeah, like that's how they were all one, and then that's how like all four of them split off.
Yeah.
And then she's like, "I knew this would come in handy. Derp to derp.
Right.
Turn the knob."
So yeah, that worked. And obviously, they're not. When we alluded to it, said we think Venom says goodbye, Eddie, and obviously he's just fine. They stick with it.
So was Eddie dead, and then Venom brought him back to life?
Or
When
that, or
he's on like the rocket plate.
Yeah,
he's
like
got the sword through him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, the riot arm
yeah.
cut off. He was dead, right?
I think so.
Or very close.
So Venom can just bring him back to life like that. I thought that was
Yeah.
weird.
I mean, you can also recover. I mean, he hasn't been dead very long. So
I guess.
it's not that big of a jump for me, I guess. There's other things that bothered me more than that.
It was cool that he pulled the blade out, and that's what stopped the rocket ship.
Yeah.
That was pretty sweet.
that's
Where he
true.
just like shredded
Yeah.
the side of it.
I will say that we alluded to it earlier, but Tom Hardy and the Venom combination, Eddie Brock, we learned earlier in like a few weeks ago that Tom Hardy did the voice for Venom.
Yeah.
Their back and forth in this movie were actually pretty good dialogue. I actually enjoyed some of the quips they had with each other.
Yeah, that's by far the best part of the movie because they
Yeah.
have a comedic take. And I was not expecting that
And
at all.
it's not overbearing, and it's definitely still along the darker side. So
Yeah.
it's not like it's like stupid comedy that Marvel is sometimes
It's a
plagued
hard
with.
balance to strike though, because you had comedy, which wasn't expecting too much in this movie, but
Well,
there was quite a bit of it.
It starts off with horror where he's just like, feed me, hungry,
Yeah.
food.
Yeah.
Right.
And he just goes and get it. And then he fucking like jumps in a lobster tank and just goes apeshit over all that stuff.
Living things, yeah.
And then as soon as he has had his like,
Phil.
his fill, he's done. He's like, okay, I'm going to help you. And that's when the sweet ass chase and fight start.
Yeah.
And then they just start like broing out with each other.
I
I
like-
liked it quite a bit.
I especially like the scenes where Eddie's like talking out loud to him,
Yeah.
and then like people around him are like reacting to like, who the hell are you talking to?
Mm-hmm.
Like nothing at you. No, you shut up. And
Yeah.
it's just those are great scenes.
One of the things I wish we got more of, and there's nothing wrong with full-fledged CGI Venom where he's like climbing against walls, he's fighting. All that looked pretty good, and I liked how they never shown him using kind of a spiderweb antics. It was mostly like crawling around and jumping around.
Yeah, they look like weird little amoeba looking fucks.
Yeah.
Like, just a weird blob just rolling its way around.
Right, they never showed web slinging, which is how Venom typically gets around. But like this one, he has him just climbing and destroying up buildings, which looked pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
But my favorite parts was, and I didn't get enough of it, was just like one scene where Tom Hardy looks in the car window and sees Venom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish there
that's-
was more allusions to that.
That's
'Cause
great.
I-
Where he first kind of like gets a physical
Mm-hmm.
image of what's inside of him.
You know what part I hated?
What's that?
Like the before and after of his neighbor. Like he
Oh.
got so rage and filled when he was starting to play music. Like even without Venom, he just did like a childish freak out. He's like, "Gah!" It's
Right.
like he was like going Super Saiyan or some shit. It looked dumb.
And then
And then with Venom, it's just the same dumb.
right, I did like that first scene a lot where in the apartment, and Venom starts to talk to Eddie Brock and says, "Look out for this. Move left. Do this."
And then like when he
Don't
can't
open the
actually
door.
turn, he like this amoeba shit just like branches out on the ground to make him turn
Right.
like a fucking 180.
Yeah,
It's cool.
for everything that could have gone wrong with that area, I think they got that part
Yeah.
down.
Because in the trailer they show him like flying off the motorcycle and it attaching. I thought
Yeah.
it looked so dumb.
Yeah, but in here it looked pretty good.
Yeah. Imagine like when you have all of the subject matter that you need, it actually makes sense. Because like they show the last 5 minutes of this movie in the trailer, which is
was
really
yeah,
dumb.
I
I
thought
hate
that-
I hate it when they do that.
I thought that was a weird choice.
Hmm. Same with Fallen Kingdom. They did that
Oh,
shit too.
yeah.
I don't like that trend at all.
That was a weird choice. Well, that and like when it said "We are Venom," that's
Yeah.
in the end of the movie, and they cut it into the trailer where he first takes his huge full form. Like, oh, that's not where that line is.
Yep.
Thanks for ruining that, Sony.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, Sony's horrible at cutting trailers
Apparently, because
and making movies, I guess. Ooh, one aspect that I liked was when you have the symbiote in you for so long and then it's away, you get used to it and you miss it not being there.
yeah,
I like that connection a lot because the one scene I liked with Michelle Williams was when they were both talking on the stoop about like, oh, I kind of miss him. It just feels like a part of me's missing, but Tom Hardy still has Venom.
right.
I like that little scene.
Yeah, especially because like, I think doesn't Tom Hardy let slip once where he
He says we
Yeah,
once,
we.
and then she's like we.
right,
Mhm.
It
And then
doesn't-
he just like randomly starts talking to himself, and she's like, "Oh, okay, I see." And then he walks away, and then here comes Stan Lee.
right. Our
And then
MCU cameo.
Stan Lee seems to realize that there's two of Tom Hardy too.
Because he dresses the both of them.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Yeah.
How would he know anything? This might be one of the worst Stan Lee cameos
Yes.
ever.
I think they just did it because it's Stan Lee.
Yeah, but I mean, they could have done something better than that.
Does that count as you alluded to earlier, an MCU thing? Or is that just in association with Marvel Stanley appearance?
The only other MCU or non-MCU movie that he's in is in Deadpool, where he's like the DJ at the strip club.
Oh, that's true.
So there's an out to where he might not be in the MCU.
CU.
Yeah.
I could see that.
Yeah.
So we credits roll. We get to a halfway point and we learn Tom Hardy, Eddie Brock is going to a prison because a serial killer has requested his interview, whatever. It granted him an interview. And Eddie Brock walks into a cell, and there's this Ronald McDonald red hair fro.
Curly ginger looking fuck.
Yeah.
Yep, who's writing on his cell with his own blood.
Yep.
What did he write on there?
I don't know. It's some word, but I can't remember what it is now.
I thought it was like Eddie's dead or Eddie's
No,
back or
God
something
is
like
God is something about God is here.
that. It was stupid, whatever.
Yeah. Turns out to be Woody Harrelson as was going to be Cletus Cassidy as Carnage.
Did you guys know he was in this?
No.
Okay, because I did.
And I was pissed.
You
I
remember
was,
what,
I was pissed.
you remember what I said when we were walking out?
Uh-uh.
It's just a slightly worse or a slightly better cast than ever casting Jesse Eisenberg
As Lex Luthor.
as anything.
Oh, as anything, period.
Well, yeah, but Lex Luthor, yeah,
Mhm.
for the most part.
This was the buzzkill. Because nothing against Woody Harrelson, but he is not crazy enough to be Cletus Cassidy.
Oh, he can be crazy.
Yeah, but,
But,
this,
like,
not this kind.
Have you ever seen Natural Born Killers?
Uh-uh.
He can get there. He just hasn't been there in 20 years.
Yeah.
If he branches back, because he's played a couple of crazy fucking people, so he can do it. I hated the way he looked in this, and his acting really didn't do much for me.
He looked really cartoony.
But he only had one scene to play off of, and I'm guessing he only did like 3 or 4 takes. So I'm
Probably.
hoping with him in the sequel, he'll have something to like bite into. He'll have some meat to eat.
See, he might come off as crazy, but I need like chaotic evil.
He can do that.
I don't think he can.
Watch Natural Born Killers. He totally can. He looks horrible as a Carnage, and I can't really get over that fact. Like, that's the thing that's throwing me for a loop right now. I think if he has enough time to study his part, to actually have character development, he can be good.
See, I don't think maybe it is his age, but I just don't think Woody Harrelson can facial expression wise
Yeah.
can do it for me in passing that he's just batshit crazy and just wants to see everything burn. I don't think he can do that.
No, not in the chunk that we saw. He reminded me more of like a fucking Little Debbie mascot than
Yeah,
he did of
it was
a
just
serial killer.
So stupid. I
Yeah.
really hope they drop him.
I don't think they will. This movie, I think, is going to make a ton of money. So if it makes money and they already put him in this role, they're stuck with him.
But cut the
No.
fro. No offense, Woody, but lose
he's
a few
old.
pounds because you're supposed to be thin and chaotic.
He doesn't have to be thin. He can be crazy fat guy.
Venom,
That's okay.
Venom has always had a more slender look than Venom.
Carnage.
Carnage.
Yeah, okay. When he's in the Carnage suit, he can be skinny and muscular
So
and everything.
Carnage is gonna slip
Yeah.
down.
It's like a garter belt.
I think John, when I made my comment leaving movie theater, John came back, reciprocated with the actor that plays Rorschach in Watchmen.
I've heard that from other people too.
That was perfect for me.
Well, yeah, because he already has done this.
He's very grizzled looking.
He hasn't acted in like 5 years. I don't know where that guy went.
Yeah, I know, but I'd still like to see, I would take him 5 years of non-acting over Woody Harrelson.
I think they wanted another big name talent to fight with Tom Hardy.
And that's Woody-
that would agree with.
Yeah. Woody Harrelson is bigger than Rorschach guy.
Yeah, that's all we know.
Yeah,
of
but
Rorschach guy.
Yeah. Well, he was also Freddy Krueger in the remake, and he was
That's-
horrible in that.
He was also in Shutter Island, but I forget his name.
Yep, and that's it.
If they pull from the comics or they pull from the cartoon or any kind of video game, it usually takes Venom and Spider-Man to take down Carnage.
That's what I'm hoping for.
That's what I'd like that too.
I
But
would love a mid-credit scene of Spider-Man Far From Home, because he's not going to be in the U.S. for this movie.
Right.
So come back to the U.S., mid-credit scene, see Eddie Brock, like he'll do an interview with him or some shit. Maybe Spider-Man gets revealed, like Peter Parker unveils himself.
maybe.
So Eddie Brock goes to investigate and do a report on him. That's a good way to combine the two.
Yeah, I just
Or just like a paper that says Cletus has escaped from prison, and then Spider-Man has to go like, oh, he's just like, oh, I gotta go see an old friend.
I don't know. I really want like a Tom Hardy, Tom Holland connection in Spider-Man 2. I would like
that'd
that
be great.
a lot. Yeah.
I just don't see Sony playing ball because Sony sucks.
Sony already? No, I can see Sony loving to play ball. I don't know if Marvel will want to play ball with Sony.
You don't think so?
No. I mean, they did it once just so they could have Spider-Man in the MCU. I don't think they want Venom in the MCU.
Oh man, Venom and Carnage are some Spider-Man's most iconic villains.
Yeah, but again, the deal that they made with Sony is that they get Spider-Man, but any movie that Sony makes without Spider-Man, Marvel gets no cut of. So what incentive do they have to bring Venom and Carnage to the MCU?
Yeah,
There's
I
really
know.
none.
MCU does a good job usually playing it for the fans. And I feel like Sony usually can't always deliver on that front.
No, they're horrible at it.
Yeah. I think if Marvel really wants to appease the fans, I think it'd be a disservice not to have Venom and Spider-Man cross.
Yeah. Like I said,
Especially with the Carnage storyline.
I hope they can make it happen. I just don't know if they're going to be able to.
That and the two villains I care about the most in Spider-Man's storyline is Venom and Carnage.
We kind of already alluded to this, but Brent, you didn't get a chance earlier to say anything. Any favorite and least favorite scenes for you, Brent?
Some of my favorite scenes is definitely the just the dynamic between Eddie and Venom talking, and whether it's Eddie's talking back out loud to him or if it's all happening in their head. Those things are just great and well written. It's not over the top and not overbearing at all through the movie.
I think one of the missed opportunities for me that would have been that makes it my least favorite scene is they showed a lot of cool symbiote bonding stuff in the lab, and a lot of the victims end up dying. But along with Riot, there was like other symbiotes.
I was just going to mention that there was a yellow one.
Yeah, like one called Phage, Scream, that usually kind of
They
correlate.
all
with,
died.
I know, but that's what I'm
Oh,
saying.
did
that,
they?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but
Okay.
I'm saying that was a missed opportunity to have like maybe they'll go back to it, but there's still symbiotes back in that lab that could bond with people and lead to more.
No, they're dead.
All of them are dead.
Yeah.
Well, there's only three. There were the three. There was Venom, the other two, and then Riot. There's only four that came down.
Oh.
But the other two died because when they bond, you hear, I can't think of his last name again.
Riz Ahmed?
Yeah, Riz Ahmed's character say, "I'm sorry I couldn't save your friends."
Oh yeah.
And that's where, and that brings me to another point. One thing that didn't make any sense was Riot says that he needs Venom. Like, we need to get Venom.
Yeah.
And then at the very end, where they're fighting, he says, I need the rocket. Give me the rocket to Venom. Like, he needs something from Venom.
Maybe he just needs Venom dead.
Yeah, I think he just wanted to make sure he didn't, like, interfere with his plans, I guess. Yeah.
What?
It's not the best. It's not the best.
So I said that's one of those plot lines because Venom automatically assumes Riot's plan because Venom knows that Riot's on the planet somewhere.
Yeah, no, but, like, I don't know. It's just where they found them all on the same asteroid.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But, like, he's an outsider. Was he hiding in the asteroid, like the 4-foot asteroid?
Yeah, and how can you be a loser when you're just a whole bunch of amoeba people?
Right, exactly.
That's
Duking
weird as fuck.
Yeah, I think it'd be cool to reference, and they reference them, but to see Phage and Scream, these other symbiotes, bond for a little bit, and maybe come full form, then die.
So
Like a Power Ranger symbiote?
Kinda.
Wow.
I did like. What do you guys think of the Venom head coming out and talking to Tom Hardy after the first fight scene?
I thought I was gonna hate it, but I didn't mind it at all.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be weird.
Yeah.
Them talking to each other, but yeah, it worked. I
Yep.
enjoyed it.
Like, that looked like when it was getting extracted from Topher Grace.
Oh
Remember
yeah,
with all the
yeah.
pipes and shit?
Yeah.
That's what that reminded me of.
I thought they did a good job of kind of subtling, like, where would you hear these high pitched frequencies that make sense for these guys to be weakened by it? Like the CAT scan made sense, the rocket noises made sense. All that exposing their weaknesses was like kind of it's a nice way of how they could expose their weakness.
You could probably download a high pitch gauge on your iPhone.
Probably, and keep these symbiotes away.
Can't wait till a bad guy does that weak shit. Can I talk about my best and worst?
Yeah, please go do.
Okay, best scene, motorcycle chase.
Yeah.
That was fantastic.
Agreed.
Worst scene, anything with Eddie Brock doing detective work or investigating shit. Because he's a horrible, like, if he's this big viral sensation, he does no research for
Yeah.
anything. He'll just attack somebody when he has one little kernel of evidence.
Right. The Eddie Brock I know from comics and lore is that he's kind of a bad guy. Like, you kind of feel bad for him, but they made him much more of a hero in this movie.
Yeah.
Do you guys like that twist?
They needed to do something. He's the protagonist for this film.
Yeah,
Right.
I think it's a good mix when you add Venom to him. because then they're kind of doing the back and forth thing.
Like the Venom I associate with is like Eddie Brock hating Peter Parker and Spider-Man.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know if they can pull that off if we ever do get a crossover, because Eddie Brock is now kind of built up to be a hero of sorts.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think...
Like a lawful evil hero.
Yeah, but I'm not sure if we're going to get that same hatred that Venom should have for Spider-Man.
That's why they're going to team up and not fight each other.
Just pick on Carnage.
Yeah. That's what I see happening.
Oh, that's such a stretch.
It's like a Thor-Loki relationship, kind of.
Yeah, that's true. Loki,
Except they're not related and they don't
Right.
know each other.
Yeah.
that's true.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, guys, let's jump into the review portion of our show. And I'm going to kick things off with some opening weekend numbers. I was surprised when I came across this, but Venom was able to pull in 80 million opening weekend.
Damn.
Yeah, that was...
Wow.
It
was projected to make like 60, 65.
Yeah, and usually when critics hate on something like this, it doesn't bode well.
I think it had a 30% last time I checked on Rotten Tomatoes.
What?
I think. Yeah.
30?
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is against what Jake saw was a Star is Born.
Yeah.
That pulled in 40 million.
Oh, good for that.
Yeah.
I bet their budget wasn't even 40 million.
I bet. So among these two movies, that's pretty good weekend for opening for October, because this broke the record breaking for October over Gravity, which was 55 million. What, 2-3 years ago Gravity came out?
I remember that being a huge sensation too. And
Yeah.
the main reason why that made so much money is because you had to see it in 3D.
Oh,
So,
that's true.
Like up res on ticket sales and shit.
Right. So 80 million opening weekend in the US, 125 million internationally. This movie's already made its budget back of 100 million.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this movie's going to do...
Wow, its budget was only 100?
Yeah, and we kind of talked about earlier about seeing Bad Times at the El Royale next weekend.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to take away from Venom.
Not at all.
No,
I think it's a
it'll
small-
be a real niche following for...
El Royale will get 25 million tops.
Yeah. And then I think Halloween comes out the following weekend.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
That'll
that-
take some of it away.
Yeah. But Spider-Man, it's got potential to keep earning money, and I think
Mm-hmm.
it will, which is good because I kind of want more from this.
I think once people start hearing other people that have gone and say it's not as bad as people are saying it is,
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, well, maybe we'll see it.
That's why I think the second week isn't going to drop that much at all, because friends are going to tell other friends. You just have to see it for yourself and make up your own mind.
Yeah.
And usually, like when every critic is bashing it, audiences go there and they bash it too. This is the rare exception.
Well, that, and I know people who wanted to see this movie because the critics said so many things about it, and usually some people enjoy a shit show.
Mm-hmm.
We had one of those 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, we did. I didn't enjoy that too much.
Yeah. But no, this ended up being better than I thought. So, despite what we feel, the Metacritic score came in at 35 for this movie, but the audience score was 6.3.
Yeah, that's more like it.
But Rotten Tomatoes, Jake, you were right on the head there. 32% on Rotten Tomatoes.
That's
But
crazy to
the
me.
audience score was 89%.
Well, that's insane.
Okay.
So a lot of the audiences are liking it, but critics are just destroying it. I can see some of the critics' points as far as storytelling, pacing, and the third act, but it's
Yeah,
not as
but
bad.
not that bad.
Not that bad. I would agree. And as we already mentioned, Tom Hardy does a lot for this film.
Yeah.
And I think he agreed like 4 more movies as this character.
I know he signed a big time contract.
So
Good.
Yeah.
if it keeps making money, they'll keep using him. And didn't he say he took this role because his son really liked Venom?
That I don't know.
I think that's what he said.
Who
so
wouldn't?
Venom, yeah.
I know that Sony is trying to make their own Spider-Man villain universe. Like there's going to be a Silver and Black, which is Black Cat and Silver Canary.
Oh,
or whatever
in
fuck. Craven the Hunter.
in Morbius.
Who the fuck's more? Oh, the
Jared Leto.
vampire bullshit. I don't want
Yeah.
to see. That looks horrible.
Yeah, it does.
That was kind of a contingent upon how well this did.
Yeah.
See, that's what I'm scared about, is because like this does halfway decent.
Yeah.
So Sony's like, oh wow, we actually made something good for once.
There's
All
a
right.
there's a big difference between Venom and Morbius.
Right.
Because Venom's lore, Morbius is a stretch.
Yeah, but I'm also scared about how Venom 2 is gonna go.
Yeah. I'm skeptical. I'm optimistically positive that they'll get something right with the sequel. I'm hoping so.
As much as I'm excited for what could be a sequel, I'm also nervous of what they could do wrong.
Yeah. The sequel we already know is going to add one big name to it. So it's
Yeah.
got some positivity going its way already.
And if usually Tom Hardy is pretty good about picking his projects.
Yeah.
So hopefully he continues to have an influence on what these films could be.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, though, we're going to give our own 5-star rating on this movie. Who would like to kick it off?
I'll go first. Oh no, Brent, go first.
Okay.
Do it.
This definitely, like we've already said, it's not as bad as the critics are saying. I don't know where they're getting off saying that this is like a bad movie or a terrible movie, because this is not that. This is right in the middle of the pack of superhero movies for me. I thought it was pretty good. It definitely has its bad things to it, but it definitely doesn't bring it down, and Tom Hardy carries the crap out of it. And a lot of things that the critics were knocking it for didn't seem that major to me as they were making it seem. So, and maybe that helped it make it better for me because I went with a really low expectation. So, but overall, I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5.
Nice. Very good.
Without Tom Hardy, I would look at the negatives a lot more, I think, because the script isn't that great. There's a lot of problems with casting in this movie. I think without Tom Hardy, it's a 2 out of 5.
Yeah.
The Tom Hardy and Venom relationship carries this movie so much, and that's really the only reason why I even care and hope that he's part of the Spider-Man universe in the MCU and his own sequel.
Sure.
So I'm doing 3 out of 5 just based on Tom Hardy alone.
We don't really talk about it this much, but this movie felt a little bit out of its time. Like it might have, I feel like I could have saw this movie in the 90s and I would be able to tell the difference. It felt like Spawn to me a little bit. I got a Spawn vibe from this. It's better than Spawn.
I would say more Daredevil-esque than Spawn.
You think so?
Yeah, just storyline wise.
With Ben Affleck?
Yeah.
Not
Definitely that one.
Netflix Daredevil.
Oh yeah, no, not Charlie Cox Daredevil. Season 3 looks pretty sweet though.
Yeah, that's true.
I did agree with the critics that saying this movie felt a little bit out of time and place among other superhero movies, but it doesn't mean I don't like it. I think it's still good. Jake, you kind of said there's a lot of things that could nitpick and that do bother me about this film. And Tom Hardy can do what he can to carry it. But at the end of the day, it was a 2.5 for me. Ended up being an average movie. It's not bad. It's not great either. I think people should see it, especially if there's so much potential going forward. But yeah, I think people should check it out. All right, let's move into the last portion of the show. We have the Trivia Wizard. Is the proper title we have for Brent?
Mm-hmm.
Is it the Wizard?
Oh, you're a trivia wizard, bud.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
So Brent, what do you got for us in store tonight?
What's in your magic staff?
Get a good old fashioned for you guys.
Haven't had an old fashioned in a long time. An old fashioned. An old fashioned.
Thought I'd give that another ring back since there's only 2 of you.
Square off.
I'll take it.
Yep.
Dun-dun-dun-dun.
So I'm going to play a clip. One of you will guess first, and then the other person will guess. If neither of you get it correct,
We need a Mario Party dice.
I will read half the clues. I'll
Let's
give
just
you...
Rochambeau.
Oh,
See who
yeah,
goes
let's
first.
Rochambeau.
Sorry, Brent.
No, you're good.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, go.
Yep. 1.
So, old rules, I'm going to play a clip, and then Jake is going first.
Yep.
He'll guess, and then John will guess if Jake doesn't get it. If neither of them get it, I'll do half the clues. They'll both get a chance to guess again. If they still don't get it, I'll read the rest of the clues, and they'll get one final guess.
All right, let's do it.
All right. Clip number 1.
Oh, hi, naked lady. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt your bath time. I know self-care can be important. But can you do me a favor and tell me where are all the exits? Huh. Whoa. Okay. All right. Am I being punked? Because you're liking me a little way too much. Oh, you know what? I'm going to go with it.
Oh,
Is this Scary Movie 2?
It is not.
Damn it.
John.
is this Ready Player One?
It is Ready Player One.
Oh, fuck The Shining. God
Yeah.
damn it.
Ding, ding. Well done, John.
I was trying to think of that's what it made me think of. I'm like, what movie parodied that recently? I'm like, oh yeah.
The bathtub scene.
I just went straight up parody.
See?
Mhm.
Yeah, it sounded like a Wayne's Brothers.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
Well done.
Yeah, very good, John.
All right, clip number 2.
why people like violence. It is because it feels good. Humans find violence deeply satisfying. But remove the satisfaction, and the act becomes hollow.
Cheering? Come on. Don't be such a kike about it. Leave it to bloody rot.
It seemed pretty dark.
Yeah.
Is it a history of violence?
No.
I haven't seen it. Is it The Imitation Game?
Correct.
Yeah, that's okay.
Well
that
done.
looks so fucking boring. I did not want to watch that.
It's actually very good.
Ugh.
It's a historical piece.
British dry. No, thank you.
Wow.
I can imagine the cover. It's just Benedict Cumberbatch's face.
His fucking head.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's all I can remember. I thought it was something Project. It's 1-1 right now, though.
Yep.
1-1.
Is this the
How
third
many questions?
Huh?
How many questions?
I have 5 clips.
Okay.
All right, let's do it.
All right, clip number 3.
What?
I have 2 guesses.
Just sound effect city. I'm gonna guess Predator.
Incorrect.
I have no idea.
Is it Alien Covenant?
It is Alien Covenant.
How did you get that from that?
I remember the face hugging scene.
And you got a face hugger out of that?
Yeah.
No, not me.
No way.
Holy shit.
All right, that's clip number 3 at 2-1.
Yep.
Yep.
Are we
All
just
right.
gonna steal our points back and
Apparently,
forth?
apparently.
I hope so.
All right. Well done. It is 2 for John.
That was
1
also
for Jake.
that was last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
2017.
Last year.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Clip number 4.
Private Cage! You're going the wrong way! You're gonna miss your moment!
What the hell? They're not supposed to know we're even coming.
You walked into a slaughterhouse, man! It's a slaughterhouse! Pull yourselves together, folks! On your feet, people! Get in line! Hands, give me a sit rep! Safety! Grab! Forward! My safety! My safety! My safety! How do I get my safety? I'm waiting, Nance!
I got traces! 500 meters and they're coming in fast!
Some bitch. Fire in position! Move! Here they come. Mean as hell and thick as grass. Wait till they're right.
Ugh.
Feels so good when you know it.
Is it Stormship Troopers?
Nope.
It's a Live, Die, Repeat, Edge of Tomorrow.
Correct.
Oh.
Yep. 2014 with Tom
I got-
Cruise and
that's,
Emily
that's
Blunt.
close in genre.
You were.
I know I would have gotten that movie.
Yes.
I
it
just
is-
noticed Tom Cruise and all of that, and Bill Paxton.
Yep. Yep. But no one talks about him.
I do. He was great in the movie. Yeah, we're
2-2.
stealing each other's, John.
Yep, 2-2, final one.
Clip number 4. 5.
1770. Captain James Cook's ship ran aground off the coast of Australia, and he led a party into the country, and they met the Aboriginal people. One of the sailors pointed at the animals that hop around and put their babies in their pouch, and he asked what they were, and the Aborigines said, kangaroo. It wasn't until later that they learned that kangaroo means, I don't understand.
I can sell that for now. And remember what happened to the Aborigines? A more advanced race nearly wiped them out.
Fuck.
I know this clip.
I know it
I
too.
think we saw this movie.
Yeah, we did. Oh no, I'm glad you don't know it. I was scared you were gonna know it because I have heard this dialogue before.
John, you're up first.
No, I am. It's the 5th one.
Oh, yeah. 1, 2, 3,
Yeah.
4, 5. Yep. Jake, you're first. Sorry.
Fuck.
Comes down to this, boys.
Arrival.
Correct.
Oh, nice. I actually guess it was going to be Annihilation.
Yeah, they're both close. So
I thought that was Amy Adams.
Well done, boys.
Nice. That was a hell of a round.
I'm sweaty.
So Jake takes the win with Brent's.
A good old-fashioned.
It felt great.
Haven't had an old-fashioned in a long time. An old-fashioned. An old-fashioned.
All right, that being said, that's been episode 61 of Super Media All-Stars. You can find us on all kinds of social media. You can find us on Facebook at Super Media All-Stars. Please like and subscribe there. You can find us on Twitter at SMASPod. You can find us on Instagram at Super Media All-Stars.
You can find me on Instagram at SteelbookObsessed. And today, so this doesn't matter, but my followers voted on what the best drama is of all time.
Yep.
The final matchup is The Godfather versus Forrest Gump.
What is with people in Forrest Gump?
I don't know, but it's pissing me off that it made it this far.
That's one of Anthony's favorite movies, and I can't. Ugh.
Yeah, I don't get it either.
It's not a bad movie. It's just not that. It's not up there.
Yeah.
It's not up there at all.
Yep. But next week, John.
Yes.
We're going to see Bad Times at the El Royale, correct?
Heck yeah.
I know outside the trailer, which doesn't really say that much, I don't know what's going on with this movie.
And I'm excited.
Yeah.
I just know it's by Drew Goddard, who did The Cabin in the Woods.
Right.
Oh,
so
awesome.
we're in for some twisty shit.
Check us out on all your podcast services. Check it out on iTunes. Check us out on Apple Podcasts. Check us out on Google Play. Everywhere you listen to podcasts except for Spotify. We got a few, like you said, we got a lot of good things coming up. We got the El Royale movie. We got Halloween coming up. By the time this episode drops, I will have released the top 10 Mario Final Boss themes.
Oh, nice.
Yep. And then I got a little SMAS extra coming your way on what needs to be on this PS1 classic.
Oh, very good.
So, yeah, they'll be hitting this week as well. But, guys, thank you for joining me. Audience, thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.
Ba-dum.
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 Gonna go get 'em.
Ba-dum.
Game over, man. Game over.
Bye-bye.
I am out of here.